I got here fairly early. It started to get light out finally. Been hiking down this river. The rain, the melt's brought it right up, but it's still clear. So, take my time and get down to the what I think might be a good spot down there. Hopefully not fall and kill my camera. And see if I can't catch a steelhead, and then after that, I'm going to share a whole pile of voices. It's proving to be possibly fatal. Walking down that river in the dark. It's going too quick. It's tough to gauge how much water is in that river in the dark too since last time I was here, but there's way more. So popped up into the timber and I'm gonna cut through this timber here and come out farther downriver and hopefully I can fish it. Waders and hiking and timber. And snow and ferns and holes. It's not the smoothest route to getting around, but here we go. Well, I guess I should have known better as the weekend. Some other guys got here before me. They don't know I'm here. So there's a couple guys down the river. They've been there since like just barely seeing light. I can see them down there. And it's pretty thick timber on here. They had to hike to get down to where they are. They're on the other side of the river. What I'm thinking I might do, maybe, we'll see how it goes. Obviously if it works out, I'll share this video. I'm gonna sneak down into big timber. I wanna go downriver anyway. What I think I might do is I might slowly make my way. I'm gonna stalk them. Just like I would a deer or something in the timber. They're on the other side of the river. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak up until I've got direct eyesight from my eyes to their faces only. And I'm not going to move. I'm going to stay concealed and I'm going to videotape them. And I'm going to see if my glare can make them start to act or feel nervous or different in any way. I've never done this before in my life, but it might be interesting to see if it works, right? We'll see how this goes. Alright, the river's straight through the timber that way, about 150 yards or so. It's narrowed up into a canyon, so it's pretty loud. So I've gone back in the timber, which is the easiest thing to do in waders, hiking on snow and ferns, blowdowns. I'll set up a tripod here, and hopefully you guys can hear me alright. I'm gonna get some emails out here as soon as I get this wobbly thing set up. I'll do it. Finally fell in the river. I caught myself before I sunk deep enough to kill my phone or the camera. When I hike, I put that camera just inside my bib right here, and then my phone had been stuffing just beside here. I fell down and rolled over once and got up fairly quick. And everything's kind of dry, so it was interesting to, I kind of stalked those two poor guys. They didn't know I was there across from them. I don't know who they are, and they obviously hiked down from the other side on a logging road, up the side of the hill there, on the other side of the river. And where I go, I rarely bump into people, rarely. And I'm watching them, I'm thinking, hey, this is potentially a fairly spooky place, so I thought, I wonder what would happen if I actually just gazed at them and locked my eyes on them from the shadows under that big cedar tree and see if I could make them feel nervous and if their natural sixth sense would pick up on it. And I'll be honest, when you're filming somebody secretly like that, you feel kind of creepy. You feel like a creeper, right? But if I share the video here, I probably will. I'll try to figure out how to block out their faces. But it took about, I bet you it took about 1 minute. And the guy on the right facing me, he started looking straight towards my direction. And he started looking around. And I'm like, oh shit. So it's either timing, 1 in a million timing, or it worked. Because there's no way he could see me. I was behind that big, huge cedar tree with a canopy, and I was just peeking my eyeball in the camera at the same time, and that's it. And he started looking straight across the river at that tree area. So I backed away out of sight, and then I looked around, and they packed up their stuff and left. So, was it timing? Just fluke timing, or did my gaze, because I did intentionally look at them and I tried to pretend that I wanted to kill them. You know, it's like a predator, like a cougar on a deer. I was like, "Rrr." You know, I don't know how to do it, but I was just trying to do a little experiment to see if I could get that to work. Maybe it did, I don't know, but it must have been a good 15 minutes. It took me 15 minutes to get across from them after I decided I was going to do it, and then they left. And one guy started looking across the river in my direction, so go figure, you never know, right? Now, what do we got? I'm gonna sit right here in the middle of this big, dark, spooky West Coast forest and read some people's voices. Get some people's voices heard. Now, this is a screenshot from a comment on YouTube channel was sent to me. This is from Sharon Bender. Sharon Bender commented on the page on a video. Now listen to this. I'd like to share a short event with you here. I had a good friend for 20 years. She is an analytical chemist, bachelor's degree, Baptist, etc. Well, she had to live with me a couple months here in central Pennsylvania. It was at this time I'd been befriended by the people, the Sabe/Sasquatch. She laughed literally right in my face. Well, I interacted with the people vocally one afternoon. She was on my back deck with her dog that same night when the big guy, over 9 feet tall, decided to come for a visit. I've never seen a woman in shock like that before. She cried for hours, apologizing over and over again. Sadly, it made her afraid of the woods. She moved away within 2 weeks of her first encounter and swore never to live near a tree again. And that's the end of that. Now, Sharon, if you're watching this, well, why don't you, if you wish, why don't you email you? So, by the sounds of it, you have some experience with these people. If you do, and you have some knowledge you want to share with all of us, why don't you email it to me or somebody? But if you want to email it to me, through me to the people, you can do it at sharemystoryhowtohunt.com or tellmystoryhowtohunt.com, and we'll get your knowledge shared with the people if you think it's important enough. And as far as your friend goes, why don't you possibly send her this video, email it to her, and urge her to email me in her story. And I think that would be very interesting for myself and the people to listen to. First, we heard it from you in the comment section of the YouTube, which may or may be authentic. We don't know. We don't know you. We weren't there. But it sure would be cool to get your friend to email in her version of the story too, wouldn't it? But anyway, send us your knowledge if you have some that the people can benefit from, all right? Or not. All right, gotta go all the way down to the bottom of the list, which is a long ways to go. Mark this as red. This is called Slaps and Paceway. Steve, thank you for sharing your folks' experiences. Both these were related to me by my wildlife biologist father. In the late 1940s, as a high schooler, he was crazy for fishing. Grandpa would drop Dad off and he would hike up into the mountains to fish the watershed. This was outside of Cottage Grove, Oregon, and Dad would usually stay out 1 or 2 nights. He found a partially broken down cabin and would fort up in it overnight. One evening he was awakened by someone/something slapping the highest log on the wall and on the roof. He did not go outside until morning. He found no evidence of who or what had awakened him. Dad joined the Navy after high school and was in combat with the 1st Marines in Korea. After his discharge, he started university at Oregon State on the GI Bill. He worked for the Oregon Game and Fish Commission in the summers. In 1957 and 58, he was part of the Oregon Cascades High Lake Fish Survey. This entailed 3 interns, like my dad, and a wrangler for the pack string, gill nets, tents, and inflatable boats. One evening, they set up a camp in a meadow next to a lake that they would sample. The next morning, sometime after midnight, the horses and mules began raising a fuss, which was unusual. The men got up and checked the animals and shined their lights around the meadow. Nothing was seen, and the animals soon quieted down, and the men went back to bed. In the morning, the grass was heavy with dew, and again they began looking around the meadow. This time they found where something had paced back and forth about 30 yards behind where the animals were picketed. Dad said they looked closely but found no tracks leading either to or from the trampled ground. His revelation backs up the shares of others about disappearing tracks, yet with some evidence remaining. The Paceway. Steve, thank you for doing this. I hope this may help somebody. Go ahead and share. Howie Hilliker, Anchorage, Alaska. Howie, thanks for that, man. Absolutely appreciate it. Just so you guys know, I just got a text. I got 1 bar. I've been in and out of service, and I just got a text that we're under a tsunami warning right now. Where I live, the tsunami has come from earthquakes in the past all the way up the Alberni Inlet and tossed cars upside down and moved houses and screwed shit up. I think I'm high enough here, but even if I'm not, there's not much I can do about it. I was just struggling in waders to go over top of snow and ferns. Is what it is. Fairly steep hill behind me. I'll start climbing that in a bit. It would have to be one hell of a tsunami to get up here, I believe. I'll tell you what, life is never ever boring, man. There's always something. I'm in a tsunami warning. Let's get some more voices heard while I'm still floating. I'm still above water, not floating. 10 years old. My experience screamed at me in the dark. Good morning, Steve. Love your channel. Found you last year and been a follower ever since. Growing up in rural Kentucky, we had a farm in the rolling hills of the state. My dad worked second shift, and one of my chores was to take care of the livestock on the farm. Our barn sat about 500 yards from the house in a cutout in the woods. We had a cornfield between the woods and the house. I fed the animals this night and left the barn lights on. My dad arrived home with one of his work buddies and was upset for me leaving the lights on in the barn. So at 10 p.m. with a Coleman lantern, I head to the barn to shut off the lights. I went up the center of the fresh-picked cornfield and turned on the gravel drive to the barn. I got to the corner of the woods and the field, and something screamed at me, sounding like something from the depths of hell. I never saw anything and turned and sprinted to the house. I dropped the lantern on the way, got in the house crying and scared. I told my dad what happened. Him and his buddy made fun of me and said I was scared of the dark. Told me to go back out there and get the lantern and shut off the lights. Crying, I told him no. He threatened me with punishment. Crying, I said, go ahead and punish me. I'm not going back out there. So him and his buddy got in the truck. To go. They got the lantern and shut off the lights. Came home and to calm me down, he said, we heard the wind blowing through something. We heard the wind blowing through something at the neighbor's house. I knew better. I'm 51 now, Steve. Been in the woods hunting all my life. I heard packs of coyotes, big cats, owls, fox. Never heard anything like this. One other odd event on the farm. Again, I never saw anything, but Mom told me she was laying in bed and had the most god-awful smell come in through the windows. We had no air conditioning in the house. We had one of those giant whole house fans that when you open all the windows would make a wind tunnel into the house. It'd be a little warm at night when you go to bed. By the time you woke up in the morning, it'd be freezing. Well, after Mom told me this, a few nights later, I'm sitting in the chair watching some TV, and the big fan is on, and this god-awful smell comes rolling in the window. Again, I never saw anything, but the smell, Steve, was like really strong, dirty swamp ass. But in this area, Kentucky, there have been many Sasquatch sightings. P.S. Steve, order a copy of your book. Should be coming tomorrow on Amazon. Feel free to use my name, Richard Thomas. Thanks for all you do, Steve. Richard, thank you for emailing us, man. The frustration of not being believed when the world's turning upside down by a family member has got to be absolutely brutal. And I'm getting texts coming in now. A buddy of mine is in Mexico guiding for marlin, and he lives down the road by me, and his house is on the side of the river. He's texting me concerning about his stuff for the tsunami warning. Well, I can't do anything about it where I am. All I can do is sit here and keep sharing voices. Wouldn't that be fitting? What, there's a word for it, but wouldn't that be something if I'm sitting here and all of a sudden a tsunami wipes me out and they possibly find this SD card years later? Dear Steve, I'm a big fan of your platform. Thank you for your honesty in putting this information out there. You're helping others to overcome and understand, and that is what we are called to do by the Almighty. Hopefully someday, humanity will realize our magnificent divine potential will be achieved through the collective power of our oneness. We're all related, and when our earthly existence is through, we all return to the One. May God bless you, Steve, for what you have manifested here. Thank you for the kind words. From what I take away most of these interactions with bipedal hominids, very few people come away with a positive result. I agree. In fact, most are truly traumatized, and the effects can be lifelong. They definitely are lifelong. That being said, I'm putting this out there on behalf of a longtime friend, Tanya, and her companion, Mark, who were avid hikers and gold seekers. I say were because they are no longer. In fact, Tanya has moved to Redding, California, and will never hike in the forest again. Mark refuses to discuss it further, and these days mostly stays home. Sadly, they are no longer together. I live in Sheep Ranch, California, a ghost town of the fabulous Sheep Ranch mine, once owned by Senator George Hurst, population 37, elevation 2350, located on the eastern belt of the gold-bearing Mother Lode. Located on the eastern belt of the gold-bearing Mother Lode. The country in these parts are steep mountains with limestone caves, mining tunnels, and rusty mining relics of the former 49er gold seekers. Just for fun, we pull up old ore carts out of deep ravines with winches and cable. That will keep you in shape. When out in these woods, you always feel you're being watched. I never go without my S&W 45 Auto strapped to my side. As a side note of interest, there is a noticeable correlation to reports of encounters with the Sabe, Sasquatch, and maps of cave systems in the U.S. In the early evening at 9:30 p.m., September 19th, 2020, my friends Mark and Tanya arrived at my house. Hold on, I got a call from Sarah. Holy cow, I got service. Crazy. Just got it. Yeah, I'm in front of the camera reading emails. How serious is it? What'd they say? Really? The water level's rising right now. I don't think I'm too low. I'm right by the, with the bridge. I'm up around there. Well, way downriver it goes into the ocean, but I don't think I'm low enough. I don't know. What's the town doing? Oh well. I don't know. Oh, all right. So I guess the town's on warning. They said the water's rising. That sounds kind of odd to me because I thought with tsunamis the water goes out and then it comes in, but it might be different here. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I'm high enough. Sarah's high enough at home for sure. Now let's get back to sharing these voices, these people's voices. Get her and they'll go back. In the early evening at 9:30 p.m., September 19th, 2020, my friends Mark and Tanya arrived at my house visibly shaking and traumatized from a hiking trip cut short. The following is as they relate it to me word for word, and I know they didn't embellish any aspect. And for days following, Tanya had the shakes, like someone with the DTs. It was already later in the hot afternoon when the two set out for an overnight gold-seeking hike down the San Antoine Creek, which cuts through mountains that rise 500 feet on both sides until the narrow canyon of the creek empties out into a wide, sunny boulder field with deep pools of water. Mark had set about panning some gravels, while nature girl Tanya, clad in only her Daisy Dukes and topless, enjoyed wading in the clear pools among the boulders. They had only been there 10 minutes or so when, looking up at a mix of oak and cottonwood saplings, Tanya caught the form of a 5-foot-tall figure covered with peppered gray hair that matches the surrounding oak tree trunks and standing absolutely still, less than 20 feet from her. She said its eyes were golden in color and was close enough to see the leather-like brown skin around its eyes, the only part of it not covered with gray hair. Tanya recounts that its message was non-threatening, and in her mind was just curious. Now this is where it gets weird. She says she has no idea why, but she splashed water towards it and numerous times said to it, "Come play." What the F? This goes on for what seemed like several minutes, with her trying to get Mark's attention to see what she sees, and his response of, "I don't see nothing," and going back to his gold panning. After 2 or 3 minutes of this, she takes her eyes off the creature that was remaining absolutely motionless and attempts to get Mark's full attention. She turns back and the curious juvenile is gone, vanished. However, now, and together with Mark's full attention to the group of these trees among the boulder fields, stands what Mark later estimates is a 9 to 10 foot tall, 8 to 900 pound alpha male, and his eyes seem to be flipping back and forth from gold colored into the red reflective glow. Mark is a big guy, 6 foot 3 inches and 270 pounds, but he says this thing was massive, 4 feet wide at the shoulders, and stood out. And what stood out was its very large head with no neck. Locking eyes with what he recalls as a split second, its message was insanely clear in both of their minds. "What are you doing in my house?" And, "I can pop your head off." Mark said this mind speak was all given to him in this very brief moment, and instantly they bolted back into what is now a very dark creek, and an hour of terror with snapping trees at their heels, not stopping till they reached the bridge where they had parked the truck. Not days after all this, on the trail leading down to the stream appeared this 30-foot tall tree hung upside down in a cottonwood tree. The hung tree is an oak tree with a trunk of 6 to 8 inches at the base, of which it is ripped from the ground. I'm including this photo to view in hopes that people will take notice of these forest signs. Hold on, I just lost it. And take heed. Women in particular should be aware of an old Genesis passage stating that the Nephilim found that the daughters of men were beautiful and wanted to take them for wives. It describes them as mysterious beings that were large and strong. In closing note, Sheep Ranch is located in Calaveras County, which was so named by the early Mexicans, meaning River of Skulls. Feel free to use my name and look forward to hearing more from the Club of No Return. Sincerely, Kurt Donajski, Sheep Ranch, California. And there is the picture. That's something else, isn't it? That's 100% hung upside down. And it's alongside a river, but there's no way that river floods that high. Not a chance. That's something else. Thanks for sending that in, man. I feel for your friends. I can't believe she asked that thing to come and play. You got to be careful what you're asking for when you're topless lady in the forest. Asking some hairy creature to come and play. Some big trees in here, huh? Anyway, I gotta share more, but I gotta share something real quick with you guys. I debated bringing up the topic because it is absolutely somewhat embarrassing and cringeworthy, but it's having an effect on somebody close to me, not here, but in the United States. And it's really bizarre. There's a handful of people who are deeply embedded in the so-called Bigfoot community, and have been for quite some time, and they don't like me. They do not like that I've stolen the torch from them. They don't like that I've given the torch to all of you. They don't like that I'm letting everybody be heard. They don't like it. And obviously I don't give a shit what anybody thinks, and neither should you. And I have said things online to basically, some people might call it poking the bear, but what I've been doing is I've been poking the coward, and poking the cowards, and poking the cowards. Unfortunately, they react and they reply in absolute cowardice ways via nasty emails with stupid threats of physical violence and death threats in them, etc., etc., whatever. But the same individuals are just doing this to another friend of mine, a couple friends of mine south of the border, and other people hearing word about this, and obviously a lot of people react differently when it comes to threats or violence or nasty talk. It doesn't really do much to me. Other people, it scares the shit out of them. They think it's very serious, and they actually think that somebody's actually going to come out and try to kill somebody because somebody in the Bigfoot community got insulted. Sounds bizarre to me. But anyways, what I'm saying is we've definitely 100% narrowed it down to at least one of three people, if not all three together. And these three people are known by all of you. They've all been online. They've all been in front of the camera numerous times. They all want the camera on them. These people are also full of hate. But one thing I guess what I was trying to mention is one thing, somebody a while back started a rumor. They started a rumor, absolute rumor, that I was encouraging people online to seek out some little old man and harm him. Yeah, that's a rumor that's actually picked up a little bit of speed with a bunch of weak-minded idiots. And it's a little annoying, it's kind of obnoxious. And then this other moron, who's apparently what I would call the Don King of Bigfootery, would promote anything any way he could. And you know when in celebrity world, there's nothing better than a couple of celebrities having some kind of a feud, or when they're trying to promote a fight. There's nothing better than a couple of fighters, high-profile fighters, to start having a feud because it gets attention, it promotes. Well, this absolute loser attempted to create something out of this rumor. Maybe he had something to do with starting it, to try to promote himself in this other person. And one thing, I just don't say names, you guys. I never mention names of people who want to be promoted. Ever. Never. I never will. For obvious reasons, right? And so that's gone down. And then I had a friend of mine, and what am I saying? What should I even share about this round? Because we are narrowing it down to who it is. These people are obviously right out to freaking lunch between the ears. Right out to lunch. And here's another rumor. The other rumor that was spread about me was that I was, quote, going to grab and throw down two different people who are well known in the Bigfoot community. They said that, and no, not the BFRO dork, two other people, and they said that, quote, Steve Isdall is going to throw you down and stomp you into the ground, and so and so. And these are actual rumors that are floating around the Bigfoot community, the previous known names. These are the rumors that are floating around. How amazing is that? How ridiculous is that? Like I was talking to Dave Plash about this the other night. I'm like, can you imagine all of a sudden I just woke up in the morning and all of a sudden my brain told me to think that I'm going to go seek out two people in this Bigfoot Sasquatch community and grab them and throw them down and stomp them. And then my brain's going to tell me to scream it out publicly. Holy shit. Unbelievable. But these people who were named in the threats, they're concerned about it. They actually were thinking that I was going to come after them and physically assault them. You know how fucked up that is? Holy shit. It's kind of like, and then you can flip it the other way around. Like me and Sarah were talking about the other day, I was like, man, can you believe people? It's like somebody's brain, at some point, someone in the world, in Washington State, actually, but somebody, it's either Washington State or Oregon, all right? Just outside Portland. It's just outside Portland this came from, or it's in Washington State or Spill. But that's where it came from. And somebody actually woke up in the morning one day, and their brain said to themselves, Okay, let's start a rumor that Steve Isdall is going to seek out, because he said he was going to, he's going to seek out and find these two innocent people who probably couldn't beat their way out of a paper bag in normal life anyway, and he's going to jump on them and smash them into the ground and stomp them. Yeah, that's what my brain's going to tell me to make up today, and I'm going to start that rumor with the people. That's what somebody's brain actually did to them one day. It's just so bizarre. You got to wonder how that even comes about. How does somebody's mind operate that way, right? Isn't it absolutely bizarre how somebody can wake up in the morning and manufacture one of the most outrageous rumors and plant that seed and start spreading it and put that energy and effort towards doing that? It's pretty weird, isn't it? Is it harmless to me? Of course it's harmless. I mean, even the people that were said to be the potential victims of violence from me, one of them told Dave Pilatus that, yeah, this person told me that, but I didn't see the email. Well, if that's the case, if somebody told you that, you have the culprit. You've got the guilty. You have the name of the guilty psychopath that is making up and spreading these fucked up rumors. But anyway, I decided to share that with you guys so you could possibly follow along what's going down behind the scenes right now. And I promise you, as soon as I have confirmation of the two, it's down to 3 absolute idiots right now. And as soon as you get confirmation it was one or all 3, I'm gonna fucking promote the living shit out of their names to you, and I'm gonna show you the words that they emailed, and I'm gonna show you the rumors they started. I'm gonna show you how absolutely fucked up they really are. And I'll do that later on, but it's coming. But anyway, in the meantime, if there's anybody out there that wishes harm upon me, please just get a hold of me. Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward and hide, okay? There's nothing worse than a coward. Just don't be a coward and hide and do the keyboard thing. If you truly have a beef with me, if anybody has a beef with me about anything, if you think I'm having a negative impact on your life, if you think I am possibly seeking you out to physically harm you, get a hold of me. Email me at proguide66@howtohunt.com, and you get that fucking email into me as fast as you can, and we'll straighten this shit out. All right? And, or if you sincerely think that you want to physically harm me, email me too, and we'll see where we can meet up. All right? I'm not saying I'm going to kick your ass, but I'll guarantee you're not going to win a beauty contest for a couple weeks after anyway. But I'll show up. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anybody. So quit acting like a coward. Quit hide behind the keyboard. And put your face and your name out there like I do every single day. And state your grief. State your beef. All right? All right, that's enough for that one. Let's get back to the people. I got a tsunami coming up my ass. I got people wanting to kill me. I got people thinking I'm going to kill them. But more importantly, I got people in the world that needs to be heard. That is the most important thing here. Fessing up on Sasquatch. Steve, been listening to your channel for a while now. Thank you for giving people an outlet. I'm finally fessing up. I love Sarah's Food Channel. Here's a couple of my stories. About 1966, I was about 4 years old. We lived in El Toro, which is now the Mission Viejo areas in Southern California. Viejo. At that time, it's just like a few new housing developments back then and not populated. It's still in the country. We're near the Marine base and near an Air Force base. The military bases are situated in a vacant mountainous region by the ocean. My mother used to leave the curtains open in my room. I remember one night I was put to sleep. I heard a scream through my window. That scream is similar to the one you posted in that 2-minute video the other day. I remember jumping up and crying as a child, only to see the silhouette of a dark monster outside my window. It was about as tall as our roof on the house. I remember my father and brother coming into my room. They were wondering, what the hell? I was pointing out the window. What got me is they thought it was a nightmare. I brought this up to my brother in the past and he laughed at me, but I know what I said. Fast forward into the future. I went camping with my then husband at Santa Margarita Campground. One night a Rottweiler acted a bit timid. I heard a scream coming from somewhere out in an area and said, "It must be a peacock." That is when my ex said there ain't no peacock, and he didn't know what the hell it was. He was a hunter. I live in Utah now, and yes, I have seen other strange shit, stuff that I could tell David P. One thing is for sure, I don't go hiking by myself anymore. After what I encountered, it left me questioning, did I see that? I think some people need to step outside their box a minute and realize there is shit out there that you can't explain. Thank you again for letting us speak about our experiences. Gigi. Gigi, thank you for sharing your experience. That's got to be one of the worst ones for me, picturing other people's experiences, is the children. How many children have looked and seen this big ugly face staring at them through the bedroom window? That's a shitty deal. I don't like that at all. I don't give a shit how long you've been here. I don't give a shit if we were brought here as frickin' alien babies. I don't care. Nothing justifies terrorizing a child. That's dirty pool. That's a penalty. That's not good. Let's face it, you guys. You got your baby child in its bed and you look out their window and there's a big, hairy, 8-9 foot tall being staring, gazing at your child through the window. If you got a gun, that thing's going off through the window. Period. Right? I don't know why they do that. It's not good. It's not smart. It's not doing anything positive. It's not good. That the results in that child, that innocent child, the potential lifelong results, it's just not fair. All right, here we are back up in Canada. Clear Hills, Alberta. Steve, this is my third share by Barry Allen Ferguson. 1996 hunt west of Keg River, and 2016 trapping by Uncle Bobby. Stephen, thank you very kindly, and I'll be in White Rock in June if you'd like to join us for a cookout. You can meet my sisters who are pipe carriers, and there will be a medicine man there and a healer. Oh shit, I wonder when this was. Okay, this experience is ancient as my people, then Dunvegan Beaver Indian Band. Number 152. My mother was born in our res at Clear Hills in between the Eureka River and Worsley, Alberta. She told me they were raised alongside a family of wild men. She said at the girls' time of the month, the girls could not go anywhere alone because there are some of them that are cannibals. She also said that when they had to kill one of them, they had to take the heart out, cut the head off, and quarter the body up and bury them all in different spots so the devil man would not come back alive. Wow. Our next door neighbor. About 12 years ago, my cousin Charles and his buddy were up in the Clear Hills behind our res hunting for elk. They were bugling, sitting at an approach of a lease. About 150 feet to the south of them, they thought they saw a huge grizzly walk out of the tree line on two legs, and it just stood there. They were looking at it through their scopes. He said it turned towards them, stopped, and stood there looking at them. Charles said it was brown, stood 10 to 12 feet high. The arms were long and hung by the knees. The shoulders were huge, at least 5 feet across, and it looked like the head was sitting right on the shoulders, and the feet were huge. He did not get a good look at the face. Charles said it stood there looking at them for 20 seconds and turned around and walked into the bush. Do you remember what I said about my mom? She said they grew up around a family of Sasquatch up in the Clear Hills behind the res. Thank you very kindly, Steve. You and your family will always be in my prayers. I pray every time you are in the bush. There's an angel there watching over you. With that in your 300, I pity the fool that F's with you in the bush, LOL. I have one more story to share with you. It happened when I was working up in the Ram Rivers on the forestry trunk road, but that'll be for another time, my brother. Barry, thank you so much. And guess what? I got this other email from you in the same folder right here, right below this one. So here we go. You can hear a logging truck up the side of the mountain from here. Jake break, I guess. Think. That echoes down here pretty good. My story is ongoing right now. I still get visitations from a female Sasquatch. As far as I know, it's one of the twins that I saw in 1996 west of Keg River. I don't effing care if anyone doesn't believe me because I'm the one living with this. Steve, I'm not effing lying. Everything I wrote to you is true. When they see someone they want, they will mind speak. They will come to you in a dream state. If it happens to you, then they have... If this is happening to you, then they have seen you or they are near you now. Do not hesitate to fight them in the dream state. I do, and it works. This female Sasquatch is trying to breed with me, and when she tries, it'll change its appearance to look like a very tall woman. I know this so far when I was trapping my uncle in 2016, I was fasting and praying and reading the Bible. I wanted to know the living Father better, so it is my belief I was protected by the Holy Spirit. That is why they were not mind speaking to me, or they couldn't. I was getting tree knocks around the camp, and early one morning around 6 a.m., I got a 3-pitch howl at me when I was relieving myself. I knew they were there, my friend. If your wife is having visitations from them, then a Sasquatch has seen her somewhere. She must take care because we don't know what they can really do. As I learn more, I will share. My given name by my elders is Bearcat, and it was given to me because of my abilities. This was just given to me now. Bear ye one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Barry Ferguson, thank you, man. Shit, January 13th, 2022. Oh, so I might be able to make it in June. You know what? If I'm here in June, I will be there. Okay? Just make sure you email me again. I'd love to come and meet you guys and hang out for a day or a night or whatever. All right, I'm going to read one more. I think this didn't seem to be too long. I'm going to read one more, and then I'm going to get going. And just before I read this one, I want you to guys take note of something, okay? Just use common sense. When you hear stupid-ass rumors that absolute dipshits are conjuring up and spreading, when it comes to me, or anyone, especially people online like me, if I ever went online and looked at all of you through the camera and urged you to harm someone, that video, the amount of people in the so-called deranged section, the deranged part membership, the deranged membership, not the whole membership, but probably 90% of it, of the Bigfoot community. If I was to urge any of you to go out, seek somebody else and physically harm them, that video clip would be used to sewer my ass until the cows came home online. That video clip would be used by those angry Bigfoot community people to discredit me non-stop. It'd be a real easy thing to do if I or anybody else encouraged all of you to seek out somebody, especially a senior citizen, and go physically harm them. That video clip would be used to absolutely destroy my ass. So, I guess what I'm saying to you guys is, when you hear these stupid-ass, effed-up rumors, think rationally, think about what would really go down if that was the true, honest case. And think about what would happen if I actually made a video stating these things, or said these things in front of the camera. It would be getting posted all over the shop, right? So until you can see that absolute evidence, when you hear somebody spreading these fucking rumors, ask them why they're doing it. Ask them why they're doing it, ask them how much they hate me maybe, and tell them to get a hold of me. Whatever. Anyways, I just thought I'd drop that one, alright? Go to the source. Find the source. I can't wait. I can't wait to get confirmation of who's doing this. I can't wait. It'd be great to share with all of you. Now, one more, then I get going. North California firefighter experience. Hey, Steve, get right to it. My name is Jim Clausen. Use my name. I'm not afraid of anyone or anybody at this point. 55 years old. This all happened in '88. I graduated college with a degree in forest management and immediately got a job with the USFS on the Mendocino National Forest. Timber sale layout and prep at first. Then the Northern Spotted Owl bullshit that stopped it all. Transferred to the Wildland Fire Division and found a place on the Hotshot crew. Early season projects had us doing things like brush disposal for timber stand improvement chores while we waited for a fire to bust somewhere. I was always willing to work some overtime, and the Wilderness Trail crew needed some bodies. The Yola Boley Wilderness area abuts the northern edge of the Mendo and southern edge of the Shasta Trinity NF. Pretty remote of a national forest. Pretty remote coastal range mountains with red and white fir at the higher altitudes. Over winter, the wind and snow load creates a bunch of deadfall over the trails. Myself and 2 of the trail crew headed out for a 3-day clearing trip with the old school crosscut saws. No engines allowed in wilderness areas in the U.S. to open up the main trail in. The Mendo is a pretty dry forest, meaning few creeks and only a couple of large drainages. So all the small natural springs are destination points for animals and people alike. Our first night's camp destination was an area known as the Frying Pan. Good running spring and the small pond that filled it. It had been a long day. We covered some miles, and my boots were really giving me the fits. I had just purchased a pair of White's smoke jumpers, the best by the way, and was breaking them in. We made a small camp near the pond and set up our little bivouac tents, ate some backpacking BS food, and crashed out. Not sure exactly the time, but it was in the wee hours. Heavy footfalls past my tent, heavy enough to wake me, made the ground shudder. As I worked through the sleep fog, I thought bear, but quickly realized the few black bears in this area could not move on the ground like that, and that whatever was out there was walking on 2 feet. I suddenly felt dread and danger, anxiety all at once. Stuck in my bag in this little effing tent, I was paralyzed. It moved, passed toward the pond, and after a few moments returned toward the tent. Then nothing, silence. I then got a feeling of calm, and in my head heard, "Do not be alarmed." I felt incredibly sleepy at once, and as I drifted off, I heard in my head, "The mice will chew them for the salt." I didn't wake again until dawn, still a little confused, and crawled out of my tiny tent. My boots were there, moved a bit, and minus the laces, leather laces that come with White's boots. I looked around and saw them hanging in the fur by my tent. To be clear, these were leather laces from a pair of 12-inch top firefighting boots. I was the first one up and nothing else looked disturbed in our little area, but the tracks near my tent and the pond were huge. 16 to 17-inch barefoot and toed. None of my company reported hearing a thing when we spoke and had no clue about the laces. We did, however, document the tracks photographically. I still have the pics, but remember, this was the 80s, so old school film/negatives. I was amazed at the response once we came out of the wilderness area and I spoke to my immediate supervisor, taken aside and told, "Say nothing about this to anyone else. But I know, and do some folks up the line that do, but I know, and so do some folks up the line that do not want you talking." Okay, hold on, that was a full quote. Let me do that one more time. I hate screwing up emails. My supervisor, taken aside and told, quote, "Say nothing about this to anyone else, but I know, and so do some folks up the line that do not want you talking," end quote. Shut my mouth with the Forest Service people, but the local timber fallers and skidder operators I run into would, with a few beers and knowing I had no chip in the game, tell me about critters they had seen on the northern Mendocino. Felt good to know I wasn't alone. Also felt effed up that my bosses and ultimately the feds were denying this shit. So to make a long email a little shorter, the U.S. federal government has been more than aware of the SAB existence and squelching info as best they can for decades, if not longer. Mind speak happens. Intelligent hominids, definitely. Government suppressed, absolutely. Another encounter in Idaho, but I'll send that one another time. I think I'm run long enough in this little one. Go get some Steelies and tell Sarah her recipes rock. Jim Clausen. Jim, absolutely appreciate it. And you know what? In the past, I believe that these forest people have respect for the firefighters, the smoke jumpers. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. Just the fact that you were a forest, that you're a firefighter in the forest. Might have gave you that pass, right? And the assistance. But anyway, I don't look it, but this arm's still soaked from when I rolled over in the damn river. I gotta get my body moving. I'm gonna try a couple more casts before I go home. Hopefully the tsunami doesn't come in and harm anything. What else? I think that's about it. I think we're gonna do Sarah's having a lot of fun cooking and building up her YouTube channel. I don't know why YouTube keeps her subscription base goes up, and then YouTube will axe her for like 1,500 people they took away, just like that. Then it slowly builds back up, and they take 500 away from her. Then it slowly builds up, they take 300 away from her. It's really weird. I don't know what's going on. But whatever, it is what it is. But I know one thing for sure: she's gonna cook up a it's a Thai curry, Thai green curry, green Thai curry, halibut dish with halibut we caught. Oh my god! I used to think that I have a way of cooking halibut baked with sour cream and a bunch of other stuff that I used to think you couldn't get any better than that. But then she whipped up this Thai curry halibut dish, and it freaking blew my frickin' socks off. I couldn't stop eating it. But I think she's gonna videotape that. She's gonna cook that tonight and show how to do it. Share it with everybody. It is a good one, and I would imagine it would go good with any fish. Actually, it's just we got a lot of halibut and salmon, so there. That's gonna go up. Cook and Eat It channel is her channel, and I'll put a link. I'll put a link somewhere to that channel if you're curious, or if you think, or maybe you might even have subscribed to her channel and got deleted. I don't know what's up with YouTube. I don't know. But anyway, again, there's some crazy, whacked out, angry little imps out there in the world that are doing some real shitty things to some real honest, innocent people, and they're cowards. And if you happen to know, if you got some direct, solid information on who these culprits are, drop me a note. All right? I mean, we're onto their asses anyway. I think between me and David Plattis, we'll be able to expose them fairly soon. But it's just a sad thing to observe. It's almost like being in high school again, right? It's high school adult world of absolute embarrassment. It's just embarrassing. It's just so cringe to see adults like this, but that's what, unfortunately, the majority, not all, I always say, not all researchers, and not everybody in the Bigfoot Sasquatch community, but the majority of them are pretty messed up. Right? It's easy to prove. It's pretty creepy. But anyway, let's get back to making this about all of you. That's what this is about. It's about all of you and nobody else. Nobody else. Anyway, I better get my ass moving here. Some deep, dark, spooky, big frickin' timber in here, isn't it? There we go. Talk to you guys shortly.